Well, in a historic moment, the Prime Minister unveiled the hologram statue of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose on his 125th birth anniversary at India Gate, and this hologram statue will be replaced by a grand statue built of granite as soon as it is constructed. After unveiling the statue, in his address, the Prime Minister also took a jibe at the previous government and said that attempts were made to in fact bury the legacy of the icon and also ignore his contributions. Listen.
स्वाधीनता संग्राम में लाखों लाख देशवासियों की तपस्या शामिल थी, लेकिन उनके इतिहास को भी सीमित करने की कोशिश हुई। लेकिन आज आजादी के दशकों बाद देश उन गलतियों को डंके की चोट पर सुधार रहा है, ठीक कर रहा है। आप देखिए, बाबा साहब आंबेडकर से जुड़े पंच तीर्थों को देश उनकी गरिमा के अनुरूप विकसित कर रहा है। स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी आज पूरी दुनिया में सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल के यशगान की तीर्थ बन गई है। भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की जयंती को जनजातीय गौरव दिवस के रूप में मनाने की शुरुआत भी हम सब ने कर दी है। आदिवासी समाज के योगदान और इतिहास को सामने लाने के लिए अलग अलग राज्यों में आदिवासी म्यूजियम्स बनाए जा रहे हैं और नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस के जीवन से जुड़ी हर विरासत को भी देश पूरे गौरव से संजो रहा है।
You're watching the Newshour Special Edition, Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And to talk about the significance of this moment, we have with us Netaji's daughter Anita Bose Pfaff. We have Amish Tripathi, author and director of the Nehru Centre, London, and Anush Dhar, also an author. Good evening to all of you. I first, of course, want to take comments from Anita ji. Anita ji, as a daughter, would you be able to sum up your feelings in words? 125th birth anniversary of Netaji being celebrated in this manner in India, and most importantly, the hologram statue that was unveiled by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which will soon, of course, be replaced by the grand statue built of granite.
Of course, I'm very touched by the fact that so many Indians across India, not only the Indian leadership, respect Netaji and honor him on the day of his 125th birth anniversary. The fact that the decision was taken to put up a statue of Netaji, first as a hologram and later on as a granite statue in as prominent a place as Rajpath at India Gate is of course very gratifying, and I do think that Netaji, who was not only a great son of his country but also loved his country very dearly and dedicated his entire life to the country and sacrificed a lot, certainly deserves being honored in a suitable way, and having a statue at that place is certainly a great honor. Of course, the most important thing in my opinion is that so many simple people across the country still know his name, still know who he was, still respect him. And in fact, I would even say that lots of these people love him, and I think this is a wonderful repayment for his own sacrifice. What I would also hope is that his example was taken in terms of the positive values he represented, and that people would embrace those values and act accordingly in the course of their own everyday's life.
Well, how can the nation forget an iconic hero like Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose? Amish Tripathi, isn't it? I mean, yes, there are political reactions, political blame game on whether there was an attempt made to wipe out his legacy or not, but how can the nation forget his immense contribution? Today was one such day, which will always be a reminder to this nation.
Frankly, if one looks at our history books, there has been a unidimensional approach, the way our history books have presented it. It has become that there was a non-violent movement, and the British Raj was particularly decent, and we politely asked them and they left. There is a move to swing to the other extreme, that there is no credit to be given to Mahatma Gandhi and the non-violent struggle. I think that extreme is also not correct. There is, of course, this was a very strong movement, but there were other movements as well. There was a revolutionary part of our freedom struggle, which wasn't just independent, individual freedom fighters doing sacrifices individually. There was actually an entire movement over many decades, the Qadar movement, and many of them were actually connected to each other. And Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose was a part of that movement. That must also not be forgotten. And this part of our freedom struggle has sadly been airbrushed out of our history books. And there is, I think, the time has come to set that balance right once again. There was, of course, the rebellion of the naval cadets, which had a very big role to play in India getting independence. And Netaji Bose, regardless of whether he was officially acknowledged in our history books or not, remains popular across the country, across all people, across the entire political spectrum, let's be honest. And it shows the impact that he had on our people. And what I would suggest is that this is an occasion to look at our entire freedom struggle from a holistic perspective and acknowledge the contributions of all who sacrificed their lives for our country, so that we may rebuild our civilization once again, which has suffered invasions for centuries.
Absolutely. A tribute not just to Netaji, but this was a tribute, in fact, to those freedom fighters, those icons whose names maybe have not been recorded in our history books, but through their movements, big or small, at national level or at local level, in fact, contributed to India's freedom struggle. And I want to go across to Anuj sir, because you've published several books on Netaji Conundrum, India's biggest cover-up, what happened to Netaji, Back from Dead, the inside story. Unravel some of the mysteries that you, in fact, came across while writing, publishing these books, while doing your own research. I would also like you to talk a little bit about, Gumnami Baba.
Oh, it's very, very tough. I want me to explain everything in 4 or 5 lines. Well, I'll tell you one simple, straightforward thing. What has happened, what we have come to know by way of records, that after independence and up to 70s, the files are available. The government of India was snooping upon everybody linked to Subhash Bose, his family, people from the INA, journalists, foreigners, children, everybody. And we also have information coming from London that we were sharing the information with the British government. Now, this is something which has not been, of course, the government of India has released 303 files, but this government, of course, nothing has come out of it, because the intelligence files are missing. The files which tell us about the snooping which was going on like this over a period of time are from the intelligence side, and they were released by mistake. So that is one side. So this is something which has to be discussed, because we now know, for example, we were hearing these things when we were young. I grew up very close to the heart of Delhi, like the New Delhi area. We always heard these stories about transfer of powers, so that there were some kind of top secret clauses. There was one clause that Netaji was to be handed over to the British and tried as a war criminal, and so on and so forth. Well. Now we know, thanks to the British, that we did have secret clauses. So one of the clauses known, and that clause was, of course, they had an office here in Delhi, security liaison officer. So there was one Sahib from the British Raj era, and our IB was reporting to them. And this continued until 1968. And it's very shocking, because Netaji's daughter is here on the show with me, and because it's very shocking, she'll find very shocking, because what they were doing, they were snooping on people, and one report which was sent to them was concerning her. Something was collected about her information, and a letter was written to her family in Calcutta. They snooped upon it, report was made and sent to London. So this is something I believe the Modi government has to go to the bottom of this whole transfer of power business, because there's something very, very, very fishy in the whole process, because that's the one. You asked me about Gumnam Nibab, which is a very, very delicate, very difficult question to answer again in one or two lines. But then I'll say like this. Justice Manoj Kumar Mukherjee, he was a former Supreme Court judge. Now, I hear some people of the Netaji family, they become legal experts. They are not. This fellow, gentleman, the Supreme Court judge, he went to, studied this matter, and he came out with the finding that there is credible eyewitness account this man was Netaji. People who had seen Subhash Bose and seen this man. People who had no reason to tell lies. Now, mind you, eyewitness account in a court of law can get people hanged. One. Number two, contemporary records. The evidence which was, the correspondence explained between this person and the people who were linked to him and Subhash Chandra Bose showed that whatever eyewitnesses were saying was correct. That's Commission at the same time concluded it is, they are not able, there was no clinching evidence that this man was Netaji, for a simple reason that the handwriting and the DNA reports given by Government of India were negative. But the same Commission, in fact, in its report, slammed Government of India for not cooperating with the Commission. So I wonder why, the same labs controlled by the government, were giving these reports. So now what we have understood, of course, over the period of time, reports were fudged. For example, I have with me, we got the test done in America. Handwriting. So, I mean, any person, any day would not touch the Indian report. It's the third world country report. In fact, the American report is far, far better. We have got, and then likewise, we have obtained a lot of information regarding the DNA test, how it is fudged. In fact, we considered one very well-known Australian expert also, an Indian also. So this is an open and shut case of, forensic fudging. So I would like in the next few days to come, we should have more discussion on this point. But somebody has to answer, for example, I want people from the DNA side. Where in which part of the world do they give a DNA report without an electropherogram? Where in the world, what kind of test is there whereby you can come to know the conclusion of a DNA test 6 months before it is done? What kind of science is this? So there are a lot of questions need to be asked, but I believe, probably it's not, today is a different day, different occasion, so we are all very happy and we were elated.
But why I ask you that question is, because that obviously leads us to a very important point, which is declassification of all the files, because the Prime Minister today spoke about the declassification of files in his address. Although whatever we have been able to, access, whatever is in public domain, does not solve the mystery surrounding Netaji's death. And I want to take that point across to Chandra Kumar Bose, grandnephew of Netaji, joining us on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for giving us your time. Because, in our earlier conversations with you, you said the real tribute to Netaji would only be when we really get to the truth of the matter, when we really would be able to, solve this mystery surrounding his death.
Well, in order to solve the mystery that has been created over the years is to have a holistic approach. You see, my aunt, Netaji's only daughter, Anita Bose Pfaff, is also on the show. See, she had written a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, that if it is possible scientifically to conduct a DNA test of the ashes kept at the Renkoji temple, and the results may show a path for a closure. We would again follow up on this issue, and we hope that the Prime Minister would respond positively and conduct a DNA. We also come to know that files, classified files, Japanese government. In fact, they have said they had couple of files released, but 3 files are classified. We need to find out what are these files, what do they contain. And the other question, the IB file, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, there with the Home IB office, need to have a conversation with the status of the once these files and the proper, we might way to solve this problem. If we are not getting conclusive evidence, there are many evidence for the plane crash here, but there are certain inefficiencies. We need to fill those gaps.
Mr. Bose,
But the point-
unfortunately, your audio is breaking. We're not able to make much sense of what you're saying. We'll fix that. I'll come back to you. But meanwhile, I want Anita ji to respond to this point that you're making about the declassification of files, Anita ji. And also, a question about symbolism. Unfortunately, there is a political war going on in the country as well over Netaji's legacy. On a day like today, when his hologram statue was being unveiled by Prime Minister, on a day like today as well, jibes were taken at the center and comments were made to the effect that this building of a statue is not a real tribute to Netaji and this is not going to undo the sins of the past. How do you respond to that?
Let me say, a statue is a symbol, that's true. And a statue alone is not enough to honor Netaji. But embracing his ideas and ideals are really the most important things. On the other hand, symbolic actions like that also sort of help people to rally around things. So in that sense, I'm sure many of the simple people who say would not set up their own memorials and birthday parties for Netaji, that way sort of joined together in order to remember him. But partly you might argue that Netaji has not always been recognized as much and as well as he could have been. But our distinguished historian before pointed out very clearly, and I fully agree with him, that it's not only one person, one hero, one side of a movement that is responsible for that. I mean, success always has many parents. Failure very often has none. And we may not be very happy about the form that independence took. My father would have been exceedingly unhappy, as Gandhiji was, about the partition of India, but it was a success, no doubt about that. And I think particularly India, of the nations on the subcontinent, has achieved quite a bit. But certainly I would fully agree, independence in itself was not only Netaji's success and not only Gandhiji's success, but everything got together. That's why I also find it easy today to sort of join in with people who were not necessarily my father's friends in celebrating something like the Memorial Day for Independence or something like that. I think the greatest tribute to Netaji is the fact that there are so many people who show this personal affection and go into all sorts of activities.
Absolutely.
Both symbolic but also very practical. Netaji's guideline of thought was the service to his country, the service to people. And I think if each and every one of us can sort of serve our countrymen, countrywomen, or humanity in a smaller or in a more extensive way. I mean, not everybody can sacrifice as much as the freedom fighters did. We are going to make the world a better place. And I think that is important. But I do feel that symbolism sort of has a role in that to play too. I'm not so happy about
Symbolism obviously has a role to play, and I think the real tribute to Netaji would be, like the Prime Minister said, when we all take inspiration from his unbreakable spirit, can do, will do spirit, and the true tribute would be in fact to adopt his principles and ideologies in our personal lives. Thank you very much, Chandrakumar Bose, Anita Bose, for joining us in the broadcast. Thank you to Amish Tripathi and Anish Dhar as well for taking out time and for taking those questions and sharing your perspectives and views with us. We're We're moving on now and shifting our focus to the political face-off that has erupted between the opposition and the centre over Netaji's legacy. In fact, today taking a jibe at the opposition, at those who've been questioning the centre and the tribute that is being paid to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. During his address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke about how some people have attempted to wipe out the legacy of Netaji, how some people in fact attempted to ignore his contribution to the freedom struggle. Let's listen into all the reactions that we are getting from the opposition and also the counter that came in from Prime Minister Modi.
जिन्होंने भारत की धरती पर पहली आजाद सरकार को स्थापित किया था, हमारे उन नेताजी की भव्य प्रतिमा आज डिजिटल स्वरूप में इंडिया गेट के समीप स्थापित हो रही है। जल्द ही इस होलोग्राम प्रतिमा के स्थान पर ग्रेनाइट की विशाल प्रतिमा भी लगेगी। ये प्रतिमा आजादी के महानायक को कृतज्ञ राष्ट्र की श्रद्धांजलि है। नेताजी सुभाष की ये प्रतिमा हमारी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं को, हमारे पीढ़ियों को राष्ट्रीय कर्तव्य का बोध कराएगी, आने वाली पीढ़ियों को, वर्तमान पीढ़ी को निरंतर प्रेरणा देती रहेगी।
और आज के बांग्ला के এত অবজ্ঞা কেন? বাঙালির ইতিহাস মুছে দেবার ক্ষমতা কারো নেই, আমার চ্যালেঞ্জ রইল। এবং ভারতবর্ষের রিয়েল ইতিহাস মুছে দেওয়ার ক্ষমতাও কারণ নেই। যারা করবেন আগুনে তারা হাত পোড়াবেন, জেনে রাখবেন। মশাল দিয়ে আগুন জ্বেলে সৈনিকদের সম্মান জানান, শহীদদের সম্মান জানান। অমর জ্যোতি, একটা অমর জ্যোতি নিভিয়ে দিয়ে একটা স্ট্যাচু করে দিলেই নেতাজিকে ভালোবাসা যায় না। এতদিন পর্যন্ত তো বের করতেই পারলেন না নেতাজির মৃত্যু রহস্য। স্ট্যাচুতে লিখবেন জন্মদিন, মৃত্যুদিনটা লিখতে পারবেন তো? আমরা কেউই লিখতে পারবো না। আজও এই ইতিহাস কেউ জানে না। এতদিন দেশ স্বাধীন হয়েছে, ৭৫ বছর স্বাধীনতার আমরা পার করছি, আজও কেউ জানলো না। কোথায় গেলেন তিনি? হারিয়ে গেলেন, অদৃশ্য হয়ে গেলেন।
Let's open this up and go across to our guests. We have Aparajita Sarangi, BJP MP and spokesperson, and we have Riju Datta with us, TMC spokesperson. Good evening to both of you. Mr. Datta, I want to begin with you. The allegation against your party is that you are politicizing the issue on a day when Netaji's hologram statue has been unveiled. The allegation also is that you've never criticized any other party, the manner in which you're criticizing the BJP for paying tributes. Why have you never raised this issue in the past? Respond to those allegations.
First of all, we welcome the move of the Modi Sarkar to build the statue of Netaji, to pay respects. But it looks like a mere eyewash when you have cancelled the West Bengal tableau, which reeks of political vendetta against Bengal and its sentiments. Madam, if you think you are paying respect to Netaji just by unveiling a statue, then in Kolkata, there are statues of Netaji which have been standing here for decades, which are alive. If you want to pay respects, you believe in his ideology of inclusivity rather than divisive and communal politics. When Trinamool came into power, we declassified the files and we digitized them. The Modi Sarkar needs to declassify all the files. Like my Chief Minister said, every Indian has the right to know what happened to Netaji. We should know about him. After 75 years of independence, we are clueless of what happened to Netaji Subhas Bose, one of the true liberators of modern India. And last but not the least, we urge the central government and we humbly appeal to the central government and the Modi Sarkar that please declare Netaji Subhas Bose's birthday as a national holiday if you really want to pay respect to him and if you want to pay your indebtedness to him. We are building a Jai Hind University in Bengal with 100% state funding, and we believe that together on today, Desh Nayak Divas, we pay our homage to one of the true sons of India. He's not Bengal, he's not India, he's a global icon and we should pay him his due respect.
Right. So let's take a response from Aparajita Sarangi. The allegation is that this is just an eyewash And just by building the statue of Netaji, this is what Mamata Banerjee said, you will not be able to, in a way undo what has happened in the past. The sins of the past cannot be undone. And this paying tribute to the Netaji would make sense only if the files are declassified, only if we get to the bottom of what really happened with Netaji, the mystery surrounding his death.
A very good evening. With all respect for the chair of the Chief Minister of West Bengal, I must say that she and her colleagues must desist from criticizing Honorable Prime Minister for all his good works. See, what's the day today? January 23rd. And in fact, Honorable Prime Minister has declared that we would be celebrating Republic Day right from January 23rd. And today he dedicated, or rather unveiled, the hologram statue of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, number one. And number two, Apada Prabandhan Puraskar were instituted in the name of Subhas Chandra Bose ji, and 7 people were honored with this Puraskar. I think it's high time TMC and Madam Mamata Banerjee stopped owning the freedom fighters who happen to be born, or rather who happen to be associated with West Bengal in some way. I think she should stop from owning. He is a national icon. He is a freedom fighter of whom we are all very proud. This country owes a lot to the sacrifices of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. He just did not belong to West Bengal. He belonged to the whole of India. And Madam Mamata Banerjee should stop using all kinds of, language against the Prime Minister and his efforts, number one. Number two, she should also remember that Prime Minister Modi, after his arrival, has been doing lots of things. He is trying to bring all the national icons to the center stage so that people like us should remember their contribution. And of course, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, we need to have the right kind of tribute paid to him. And why doesn't she realize that there was a time Prime Minister Modi went to Andaman and Nicobar Islands and named an island after Subhas Chandra Bose ji. At that point of time, she was silent. Then there was a coin which was issued in the name of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. She was silent. Then, of course, there was also a time when a postage stamp was released in the name of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. She was silent. So she chooses to be silent.
All right. So you are listing out all the measures that have been taken by the centre in the past couple of years to pay tribute to Netaji. Absolutely. It's not happening all of a sudden. There is no political motive behind it. Riju Datta, as the Prime Minister said, the mistakes of the past are being corrected. How do you respond?
See, I'll say, Madam MP, Ms. Sarangi was counting all the things that the Modi Sarkar has done. Please, can she explain then why Calcutta Port, which was Netaji Subhash Port, was renamed to Shama Mukherjee Port? Was that not insult to Netaji? We are not in the business, Madam, of appropriating our national icons for gods and goddesses. And I will jog your memory that some very senior politician, when he came to Bengal for Bengal elections, also tried to appropriate one of our national icons, Ravi Tagore. And I will tell you, there are 5 states that have gone into polls where polling is based on caste, creed, religion. And I will only say this, we miss Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose today in India, because if he would have been there, he would have followed his ideology of inclusive politics rather than garnering votes on basis of caste, creed and religion. And what do we hope from people who follow Veer Savarkar? Because at the end of the day, we should also remember history, that it was Netaji Subhas Bose who publicly denounced Veer Savarkar and Hindu Mahasabha for dividing our culture, our heritage and our India. So we have no hope from BJP. Let them appropriate.
Okay, all right. Those are, of course, political reactions and barbs that are being exchanged between the both of you. But Riju Datta, whether you call it Parakram Divas, whether you call it Desh Nayak Divas, ultimately a tribute is being paid to Netaji. Absolutely. Then why this war? Why this war for Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, this legacy war between political parties?
See, there is a simple question. Mamata Banerjee ji has been in
that is for Riju Datta. Let him respond. I'll come back to you. Ms. Sarangi, one second. I just want him to respond. I'll come back to you. I'll come to you for a counter.
Whether in Bengal, we celebrate it as Desh Nayak Divas. The tableau which was rejected by Modi Sarkar, you will see that tableau on the West Bengal Red Road on the Republic Day parade. So we pay our respects not now, from the time Mamata Banerjee came into power and even before that. So we have nothing to prove. We do not need to appropriate icons for our political mileage. It is not in our DNA. Never in our manifesto we have acquired looks of national icons to garner votes. Who is doing that? Why are you doing that? And if you are including, very good, whether you call it Parakram or Desh Nayak, you are paying respect to Netaji. But if you are including his birthday in your Republic Day celebrations, can you not declare his birthday as a national holiday? So it all looks like eyewash and it all.
Okay, Aparajita Sarangi, respond to that. Why can't you declare Netaji's birthday as a holiday? And according to Riju Datta, these measures are all politically motivated. Yes, national holiday.
Very candidly, I would like to highlight two issues. Number one, Madam Mamata Banerjee has been in the chair of the Chief Minister of West Bengal for the past 10 years. I just want to ask Riju Datta ji and other colleagues of his, what has she been doing for Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose and other freedom fighters? Why didn't she do something substantial in the last 10 years? Why is she fighting all the good works that, the Modi government has been doing? Why is she opposing, rather, all the good works? Number one. Number two, as far as the tableau is concerned, let me make it very clear. See, there is nothing against West Bengal government. The issue is that the tableau of West Bengal had been accepted, or rather approved, by the Ministry of Culture and the Republic Day Committee, which is created for the purpose of finalizing the list of tableaus that would be actually viewed by the public on the Republic Day. And let me tell you that in 2016, in 17, in 19 and 21, West Bengal tableau had been approved by this committee. So we don't have anything against West Bengal state government. So all these kinds of, narrow-mindedness, this is an exhibition of the
narrow-mindedness is how Aparajita Sarangi is describing your your objection, Riju Datta. Also, since you asked him to list out the measures that have been taken by the Mamata government, I think he already has a long list and he was smiling all the way. Go ahead, Riju Datta, before I wrap up the debate.
I can go on all night with the list of what Mamata Banerjee has done for our icons, but I will just say about Netaji, because the topic is on Netaji. We renovated Netaji's residence in Bengal. As soon as she came into power, we declassified all files that were under the purview of the West Bengal government. We are building a Jai Hind University with 100% funded by the state exchequer for Netaji. We are building a Smarak here, Azad Hind Smarak here in Rajarhat in Kolkata. So the list goes on, madam. We don't need to do that. The Home Minister needs to learn who Birsa Munda is before garlanding the wrong statue, who is also a leader of BJP. So please learn our national leaders and then preach us.
Please stop fighting on all the issues. In fact, you should better concentrate on your own work. It's a very simple piece of
Okay, all right. Aparajita Sarangi will stay on with us. Riju Datta, thank you very much. That's all the time I have for the debate. What is unfortunate is that there is a political war and a blame game and a war for Netaji's legacy which has erupted in the country, even on his 125th birth anniversary. Thank you, Riju Datta, for joining us. Aparajita Sarangi, stay on with us.